Hello everyone, this is Satish Kumar, lecturer in Electronics and Communication Engineering. I am working at Government Polytechnic Masaptank, Hyderabad. I am dealing with analog communication subject. This analog communication subject is part of third semester DECE in Telangana state. In this subject we have 6 chapters. Out of 6 we completed 3 chapters. Now we are in 4th chapter. The first chapter is basics of communication system and noise. The second chapter is analog modulation techniques. The third chapter is transmitters and receivers, and the fourth chapter is wave propagation. So in wave propagation, in earlier class we have discussed the basics of wave propagation. What are the properties of waves? Absorption and attenuation, power density, electric field intensity, and their procedure, how to calculate power density and electric field intensity, polarization of EM waves, vertical and horizontal polarization, what is the meaning of characteristic impedance of free space, properties of EM waves, reflection, refraction, diffraction and interference, and types of wave propagation. So we covered up to 7 topics. Now we are going to discuss about different types of wave propagations or methods of wave propagation. As you know, the wave travels in different methods from transmitter to receiver. One is the reflection, that is when a wave is entering starting from source to destination, if the medium is same and there is a reflecting body, the wave gets reflected. And sometimes the wave travels from lower density medium to higher density medium, or higher density medium to lower density medium. The waves also travels from source to destination in a bending fashion, that is called refraction. Diffraction means distribution of EM waves from one source to many sources. Something like it depends on Huygens principle. Scattering of EM waves will occur when one wave is transmitted from a source. When it hits any body, that body absorbs some portion of the EM wave but also radiates in other direction as if it was a source. Interference means it is because of the multiple paths coming from source of radiation to the receiver. So as these are the properties: reflection, refraction, diffraction and interference. There are 4 methods of wave propagation. One is ground wave propagation, surface wave propagation, in which reflection will takes place, and sky wave propagation and ionospheric propagation both are same, in which reflection and refraction will takes place. Space wave propagation, it is also called as line of sight propagation. Line of sight propagation. And is also called as direct wave propagation and tropospheric scatter propagation. In this, the method of wave propagation depends on reflection. Almost all methods of wave propagation depends on reflection of EM waves from a body. Now we are going to discuss about different methods of wave propagation. As you see, and this is earth, this entire portion is earth, and these are the spheres above the earth, and this portion is environment, and these are some layers, ionospheric layer. So there are 3 layers above the earth environment. One is tropospheric layer, stratospheric layer and ionospheric layer, IST, tropo, strato, ionosphere. And the waves travels from source to destination. Let us suppose this is a transmitter and here it is a receiver. In wireless communication, the radiation or the EM waves or the radio waves coming out of transmitter will reach receiver in different methods based on their frequencies, and every propagation will have some limitations. All the frequencies or all the signals cannot be propagated by a single method of wave propagation. Some waves will take ground wave, some wave will take space waves, some wave will take sky waves, or some signals will take tropospheric propagation for its transmission reception, right. So this is transmitter and this is receiver. When the wave starts directly starting from transmitter to receiver, that is called your transmit direct wave, which is also known as this is called as direct wave propagation. In this, the wave is directly directly traveling from source to destination or transmitter to receiver, right. So when a wave glides over the earth, something like this, when a wave glides over the earth surface and finally reaches receiver, that is called your ground wave propagation, something like this, gliding of EM waves over the earth, that is called ground wave. And when the waves are sent towards the ionosphere and ionosphere reflects back those EM waves towards another portion on the earth, then those type of wave propagation is known as sky wave propagation. This is called sky wave, and this is called direct wave or line of sight, and this is called your ground wave. And there is one more wave propagation called tropospheric propagation. In troposphere, when there are some conditions because of rainy season or some other season, some volume will be created. Those volumes will have higher density of ions. When a wave is transferred towards this volume, towards the troposphere volume, that volume reflects back into some other point. So in this way, the waves will travel from source to destination. And one more thing you should remember, the troposphere lies from 0 to 10 kilometers, whereas ionosphere lies around 300 to 400 kilometers. Ground wave propagation. So what do you mean by ground wave propagation? In ground wave propagation, the wave passes over the surface of the earth, hence the name surface wave propagation. That means the ground waves, in ground wave propagation, the EM waves passes over the surface of the earth. Okay, as we have seen in the diagram, the EM waves which are transmitted from the transmitter, which are passing over the surface of the earth. The ground wave must be vertically polarized wave. To satisfy this condition, the antenna should be vertically polarized in case of ground wave propagation, because the waves should pass over the surface of the earth. For that, if the antenna is vertically polarized, the efficiency will be more. If the antennas are horizontally polarized, because every EM wave contains two fields, one is electric field, second one is magnetic field. When the horizontally polarized wave radiates horizontally polarized EM waves, in this the electric field is horizontal, and this electric field, when it is horizontal, it gets short circuited with surface of earth, hence should not be horizontally polarized wave. This is shown here. If it is vertically polarized wave, the EM waves will have so if the EM waves are vertically polarized wave, the electric field vector is vertical with reference to earth. That is what polarization. Okay. So when the electric field is vertical, there is no chance to get short circuiting with respect to earth. Hence, the EM waves slowly slides over the surface of the earth. And one more thing, the radiation cannot be absorbed by the EM wave. The reason is EM waves, for EM waves the conductor behaves like insulator, whereas the space or the air which are insulators for electricity but good conductors for EM waves. Okay. Hence, as the earth is a good conductor for electricity but a bad conductor for EM waves, hence those EM waves will not be short circuited by the earth surface. Hence, EM waves always travel through the insulators, right. And the range of ground wave propagation is up to 3 megahertz. So, it starts at 0 up to 3 megahertz. These signals can travel through the surface of the earth. If the frequency of the radiated signal is beyond 3 megahertz, the earth begins to attenuate the radio signals. Earth will be attenuating. You know, there are two things, attenuation and absorption. Attenuation and absorption. Absorption is because of the molecules which are absorbing some portion of energy in the free space, whereas attenuation is because the waves will be, the number of EM waves in an area will be less when it goes beyond certain ranges, right. Attenuation, and it is suitable for medium wave propagation. It is also called as medium wave propagation. This is the important up to 3 megahertz means it is a MF band. This is MF band, hence this ground wave propagation is suitable for medium wave communication, MW. And there is one more limit of ground wave propagation. If the ground is flat, the EM waves will travel entire the earth surface, whereas practically the earth is in curved fashion. Hence, when the EM wave started at the transmitter, which is actually vertically polar waves, that means the angle between electric field vector of ground wave and the earth is 90 degrees at the transmitter or nearer the transmitter. When the EM waves travels for the larger distances, slowly the electric field vector bends. Sometimes it becomes parallel to the earth also because of the curvature of the earth. That is called tilting. Because of tilting, after reaching certain distance or exceeding the curvature of the earth, the ground wave becomes negligible. Else you need to amplify them and re-radiate from that point. So these are the two conditions. One is they will be, the operating frequency is up to 3 megahertz, that is medium frequencies are allowed, and the earth curvature is one of the limitation. Because of the earth curvature, tilting of electric field vector will be leading to less efficiency, right. The second wave propagation is ionospheric wave propagation, which is also known as sky wave propagation. In this, sky acts like a reflector. Sky in the sense, the topmost sphere in the total spheres. One is ionosphere, stratosphere and troposphere. Troposphere is a sphere which is nearer to earth's surface, whereas the ionosphere which is far away from the earth's surface. The ionosphere, because of sun radiation, most of the molecules are converted into atoms and those ions, and all the ions form a good reflector for EM waves, whereas good conductor for electricity, right. When the range or distance to be covered is very large and cannot be covered by either ground wave or space wave, the sky wave propagation is used. So when ground wave and space wave fails to cover larger distances, sky wave will be used. The propagation of EM waves from one point to other point due to the reflection of ionosphere is known as sky wave propagation. Skywave propagation is also known as ionospheric propagation. Ionosphere is the topmost layer in which there are many layers are there, that is D layer, E layer, F1 layer and F2 layer, starting from Earth atmosphere towards the sky. D layer is the first layer nearer to the Earth, and F1, F2 layer are the last layers in the Earth's ionosphere. In the skywave propagation, the ionosphere acts as reflecting surface and is able to reflect the EM waves with frequencies from 2 MHz to 2 MHz to 30 MHz. When ground wave field, it means the ground wave is able to transmit only up to 3 MHz. Beyond that 3 MHz, the ground wave fails because of earth curvature and more attenuation. Whereas skywave will transmit 2 MHz to 30 MHz, that is HF band, also called as HF communication or short wave communication. Since skywave propagation is suitable for short waves only, this mode of propagation is also known as short wave propagation. So there is one more name, one is ionosphere, other one is skywave propagation. It is useful for longer distance radio communication through multi-hub shown in the figure. After single reflection from the ionosphere, the EM waves can cover distance up to 4000 kilometers. So the coverage of the EM waves by the skywave propagation is up to 4000 kilometers in a single hop. This is called single hop. This is called your single hop. This is called single hop. This is the transmitter and this is the receiver. This is called single hop. So whenever if you want to cover this point to this point, you can cover by using a single hop or by using two multiple hops. This is first hop and this is second hop, and the distance between these two hops is 4000 kilometers. This is very larger coverage compared to normal space wave as well as ground wave propagation. It is also known as point-to-point communication also, because it covers only a single point on the Earth's surface at 4000 kilometers place. In the layers in this one ionosphere, there are many layers. This is the ionosphere structure. When you see the structure of ionosphere, these are the layers. The first layer is D layer, above D layer E layer, and F1, F2. These are the 4 layers. The ionosphere is the upper portion of the atmosphere of the Earth. It gets heated due to the absorption of the large energy radiated by the sun. As a result, it gets ionized. As it is the uppermost layer in the atmosphere of the Earth, it gets more heat from the sun and all the molecules becomes ions and it gets ionized. The variation of physical properties of atmosphere such as temperature, pressure and density. There is no uniform density of the ions in the ionosphere because of the physical properties, and because of this there are many layers in ionosphere: D layer, E layer, F1 layer and F2 layer. The degree of ionization depends on the altitude of the sun above the horizon. So F layer is more ionized than D layer. The distance between D layer and sun and the distance between F layer and the sun are different. The F layer is very near to sun, whereas D layer is far away from the sun. Hence F layer is more ionized than D. The ionization is because of UVS, alpha, beta, gamma radiation from sun, as well as cosmic rays and meteors. The first layer is D layer. D layer is the nearest to the Earth's surface and it exists at an average height of 70 kilometers. Generally, an ionosphere exists from 65 kilometers to 400 kilometers. 65 kilometers to 400 kilometers. That is why the nearest layer over the Earth atmosphere is D layer. The properties are this layer disappears at the night. It is least important layer from the point of view of HF waves. It reflects only VLF and LF waves and absorbs MF and HF waves to some extent. So because in the night the sun disappears and there is no heat coming from the sun, and the D layer receives very less heat, hence the ion becomes atoms and D layer disappears in the night. Hence the D layer can be neglected for HF communication. At some extent VLF and LF waves are reflected. The next layer after D layer is E layer, which exists at a height of 100 kilometers and thickness is 25 kilometers. Due to the lack of sunlight, the ion is recombined into the molecules during night, hence this layer also disappears. So E layer also disappears because of less light or less heat. Mainly it reflects HF waves during daytime. It also has some extent surface wave propagation of medium MF waves. Generally it is useful during the daytime because it exists, and it also supports surface wave propagation also. And these are the two layers are very important, F1 layer and F2 layer, combinedly called as F layer. The next layer above E layer is F1 layer. It is at a height of 180 kilometers. During daytime its thickness is approximately 20 kilometers. During night time it combines with F2. During daytime it exists, whereas during night time it combines with F2. Although the HF waves are absorbed by the F1 layer, most of the HF waves are penetrated through the F1 layer and reflected by the F2 layer. HF waves are having more energy, hence they will enter slowly from F1 layer and can't be reflected, but F2 layer is able to reflect them. Thus the absorption in this layer is doubled as compared to any other layer. This is because the waves are absorbed while on the way up to F2 layer and the way down after reflection from F2 layer. The absorption is more because the waves are entering and following or traveling through the F1 layer. When those layers are not reflected, some of the absorption will occur because of the molecules or ions available in the F1 layer, and also it is also absorbed while they are reflected by the F2 layer and slowly entering into F1 layer. Once again the waves reflected by the F2 layer are absorbed by the molecules in the F1 layer, hence absorption gets doubled. F2 layer out of 4 layers is the most important layer, the point of view HF communication or shortwave communication. During night time it exists to 450 kilometers. During night time it was to 300 kilometers and combines with F2 layer. During daytime it exists between 250 and 450, whereas during night time it exists only at 300. It has the highest thickness and is about 200 kilometers. Just you can imagine, very high thickness. The main difference between combined F layer and the other layers is that it exists night also. This F2 layer exists always. That is about here. So this one is ionospheric propagation. I will explain with the help of diagram also. Just wait for a while. I will take empty sheet so that you can have a better idea. Let's suppose this is an earth surface and this is your ionosphere. Let us suppose this is your ionosphere, which is combining many layers, D layer, F layer, E layer and many layers. This is earth, this is ionosphere, and here you are having a transmitter, and here you are having a receiver. You are having some antennas like this. Okay, so when the waves are exposed towards the ionosphere, because of more ions, those EM waves will not enter these two ions, these ionized layers, hence they slowly bend back. And why this bending occur? Because, as you know, is the concept called refraction. So refraction, so this is, let us suppose this is CO2, which is containing more density of the molecules, whereas this is air, this is CO2. So when a wave enters from lower density medium to higher density medium like this, okay, like this, the wave will not travel like this, the wave slowly bends towards the normal. So slowly the wave travels like this, because the reason is up to air that the direction of EM wave is straight, whereas when it crosses the interface between CO2 medium and air medium, it slowly bends. So this bending of EM wave is known as refraction. So similarly here also, when you look at this one, here the densities of ions is more at upper portions. The density of ion is more at the upper portion, whereas less at the lower portion. That is why, as it is slowly entering from lower density medium to higher density medium, it bends towards the normal, hence slowly it bends back. This is called, once again, it after some time it reflects back. So refraction, a continuous refraction leads to reflection. So in this way the ionized layers are able to reflect back the EM waves which are coming from transmitter to receiver, right? And this its efficiency more in the daytime, whereas in the night time the layers will be disappeared, some of the layers will be disappeared, right? This way the ionospheric propagation will work. Next, some of the important terms related to ionospheric propagation. So there are 4 terms. One is critical frequency. It is defined as the highest frequency that can be reflected back to the earth by a particular layer. So for every layer like D layer or E layer, there is a highest frequency that can be reflected back. If you send beyond that frequency, the signal will not be reflected by that layer, and it will penetrate through that layer. Its formula is under root of 81 n max, where n is the ionization density. This critical frequency is different for different layers. Fc is indicated by critical frequency. And skip distance, there is a second term after critical frequency, which is highest frequency for a particular layer. Skip distance is the minimum distance or shortest distance from transmitter measured along surface of the earth, at which the sky wave of a fixed frequency more than Fc will be returned to earth by the ionosphere. Skip distance is the minimum shortest distance at which the wave which was reflected by the transmitter comes back or reflected back by the ionosphere. This is shortest, at which shortest point the EM wave will touch the ground from the transmitter through the ionosphere. So here if you look at this diagram, this is the shortest point, whereas these are the other points. The wave can also be hit like this, can also be hit like, can also be hit like this, but at which minimum point, at which shortest point the wave will be reaching at the transmitter, that is that point and the transmitter point, the gap is known as skip distance. So when you determine skip distance, when you have an idea of skip distance, you can design the receivers, or you can locate the receivers such a way that there should not be any receivers in this area. The reason is, when you install a receivers in this area, the shortest point at which the EM waves reflected by the ionosphere is this point, and beyond this point EM waves can be easily received by the ionosphere or reflected by the ionosphere, whereas if you locate this point, the M waves will be reflected back at this point. So it is waste of money and no communication is possible. So skip distance is the limitation. So within the skip distance, skywave propagation is not possible. The third property is virtual height. So virtual height is a height of the EM wave, the passage of EM wave. Okay, virtual height and actual height. So when a VM wave is forwarded or sent from a transmitter, it goes straightly when the medium is same. When the medium changes, it slowly bends. If the medium is same and there is a reflector at the top of the layer, then it can be reflected back. So the height at which the EM wave is reflected from a layer or the top layer of ionosphere is known as virtual height. Right? Virtual height of an ionospheric layer is better understood with the aid of figure. Right? And this is your virtual height and this is your actual height. The wave at which the wave is bent, the point at which the wave is bent from the Earth's atmosphere is known as actual height. The point at which the wave is reflected by the ionized layer is known as virtual height. Always virtual height is higher than the actual height. Right? That is reached by a short pulse of energy which has the same time delay as the original wave is known as virtual height. Time delay. However, the below ionized incident and reflected rays follow the same paths that are exactly same as they would have been if reflection had taken place from a surface located at a greater height called virtual height. The virtual height of ionosphere is also useful to find the angle of incidence also. The height at a point above the earth's surface at which the wave bends down to the earth is known as actual height. The virtual height is always greater than the actual height. When the wave bends particular point, that height is known as actual height. When the wave reflects from a particular point, that height or the distance between the point of reflection and the earth is known as, and the point of refraction and the earth is known as actual height. Maximum usable frequency, that can be the maximum frequency that can be reflected back for a given distance of transmission is known as MUF. There is a difference between critical frequency and critical frequency is the maximum frequency that can be reflected by the ionosphere, whereas for a particular range of communication, what is the maximum frequency that can be reflected back for a given distance? Maximum frequency that can be reflected back for a given angle of incidence is known as maximum usable frequency. So it depends on angle of incidence also. MUF is equal to FC secant theta. It is also known as secant law, where FC is the critical frequency. This is the maximum frequency that can be reflected back by the ionized layer, and secant theta is the angle of incidence. At a particular value of angle of incidence, what is the maximum frequency that can be reflected by the ion layer is known as MUF. MUF is equal to FC secant theta I. And space wave propagation. So till now we discussed ground wave and sky wave. Ground wave is also known as surface wave propagation or medium wave propagation, whereas sky wave propagation is also known as HF propagation or ionospheric propagation. In ground wave propagation, ground acts like a good conductor, not good conductor, good insulators, so that it slips or slides over the earth and reaches the receiver from the transmitter. Whereas in case of ionospheric propagation, ionosphere acts like a reflector and reflects back the EM wave. So it's something like indirect wave communication. So in ground wave propagation, the waves directly transmitted towards the receiver, whereas in ionospheric propagation, the EM waves are transmitted towards the ionosphere, not towards the receiver. And coming to space wave propagation. space wave propagation is also known as line of sight propagation. That means the transmitting antenna and the receiving antenna should be on the same line electrically. The EM waves that are propagating from transmitter to receiver in the Earth's troposphere is called space wave or tropospheric wave. Line of sight. So when you look at this diagram, this is a there is a transmitter which is installed over the earth, and there is one more receiver which is installed on the same earth, but the range of communication in space wave propagation is less because the transmitter and receiver should be on the same line. When they cross the earth curvature, when they exceed the earth curvature, the receiver is not on the same line with reference to the transmitter. So the antenna should be on electrically, they should view each other. So this is transmitter, here you are installing a transmitter, here you are installing a receiver. When the antenna of the transmitter radiates a signal, the wave takes multiple paths. One is direct path, other one is ground reflected path, because earth is a good reflector for EM waves, right? Because of multiple paths, sometimes the waves, direct wave and reflected wave, sometimes they aided or sometimes they subtracted also. The reason is there is a much large path in the reflected path compared to direct path. Because of this large path, the phase angle of the wave changes. When the phase angle of the wave is exactly opposite that of direct wave, there will not be any wave received at the receiver. When the phase angle is maintained such that it is in phase with the direct wave, then they are added and more signal will be received at the receiver, right? And one more thing, the range of communication is not beyond the origin of the earth, and the height of the transmitter and receiver influence the range of communication in case of space wave propagation. Line of sight, the definition of line of sight. Line of sight is a type of propagation that can transmit and receive data only when transmit and receive stations are in view of each other without any sort of obstacle. That is called line of sight. So line of sight propagation is way of propagation in which transmitter and receiver are in the same line of view or in view of each other without any obstacles. The applications of line of sight is your mobile communication, FM radio, satellite transmission. The limitations of this line of sight is earth curvature, and this can be overcome by proper planning and installing a repeater where the curvature of the earth occurs. When the curvature of the earth starts, you should stop communicating the space waves and you should reinforce it and restart the transmission. For that you should have one more transmitter at the earth curvature point. Repeaters are used. Expression for line of sight. So line of sight expression, there is a definition. The line of sight distance is the maximum possible distance at which the direct ray of transmission is possible. So in line of sight communication or space wave propagation, there are two waves. One is direct wave, which is coming directly from the transmitter to receiver through the troposphere. There is one more wave called reflected wave, which is reflected by the ground. It's called reflected wave. The line of sight communication or line of sight distance is the distance between which direct ray transmission is possible. Farthest possible point of LOS propagation is referred as radio origin. So what is the maximum or highest point at which the radio waves are received in line of sight communication is called radio origin. Beyond that radio origin, the waves will not be received, they will enter into once again space. Radio origin of antenna is given with good approximation like dt is equal to 4 under root ht. Line of sight distance is dt, ht is the height of antenna, transmitting antenna. The radio origin is locus of points at which the direct rays So if the heights of the antennas are 1 lakh or 10 lakhs, entire hemisphere will be covered. That is the advantage of space wave, but it is difficult to erect 1 lakh kilometer transmitting antenna. That is about space wave propagation. Generally, space wave propagation is very much useful, but it has some disadvantages. Curvature of the earth, limited range of communication, it requires more repeaters for increasing the range of communication. The frequencies are used are VHF and UHF. Applications are mobile, FM and satellite communication. That completes your space wave propagation. The other names for space wave is line of sight communication, LOS, and other name is direct wave communication. is T is equal to dt plus dr. dt plus dr 400 ht 400 hr and finally 4 equal to and distance equal to 4 open the bracket 100 ht and 100 hr, where ht hr as the heights of the transmitter and receivers in kilometers. The radio origin is equal to dt is equal to 4 ht. Okay. When you have a earth curvature like this, there is a transmitter and there is a receiver like this, right? And this wave travels like this. This is the radio origin for this wave, and this for this wave the radio origin like this. This is the radio origin, and this is the one more radio origin. The radio origin is indicated by d is equal to under root 4 ht. Okay, so here also 4 ht. There are two 4 ht's, and if you add them, you will get this formula. 400 ht, not 4 ht, 400 ht, 400 ht. So 4 of ht into hr. Total distance equal to ht plus dt plus dr, where dt is equal to 400 ht. Methods of diversity to reduce fading. Actually, what is fading? Fading is one of the drawback of for the EM waves because of the variation in the signal strength at the receiver. Fading means fluctuations in the signal strength at the input of receiver because of multiple paths. Fading means variation in the levels of signal strengths at the receiver. It is caused due to interference between two waves which left the same source but arrived at destination by different paths. Because of the multiple paths, the fading will occur. Because in space wave communication, the wave, there are two waves, one is direct wave, another one is ground reflected wave. There are many ground reflected waves also. That is why many signals will be reaching at the receiver with delay or with advancements, and with addition of the phases or out of phases, the final received signal at the receiver will be fluctuating continuously because of this multiple paths. The strength of the signal received at any instant of time is vector sum of all the waves received. If the path length difference between two waves received at the destination is large as a half wavelength, alternate cancellation and reinforcement will result. This result the fluctuation of the signal strength of the receiver. If the path difference is more large as half wavelength, that means lambda by 2, which leads 180 degrees. These 180 degrees of phase difference because of path difference leads to cancellation of EM waves coming from direct wave and ground reflected wave, because 180 degrees means out of phase. Thus the fading effect is more smaller wavelengths, that is at higher frequencies. Its effect is more at the higher frequencies. So with this I will stop. and we'll discuss what are the methods to overcome the problem of fading in the next class, right? So in today's class we covered we started at methods, types of wave propagation, and we covered ground wave propagation, sky wave propagation, ionospheric propagation, layers, and important terms related to ionospheric propagation, space wave propagation, what is line of sight, expression for line of sight, and we discussed even fading also. Just I'll revise in a short. Ground wave propagation is one of the methods of wave propagation in which ground is acting like a reflector for EM waves, and it is suitable up to 3 MHz, and the limitations are earth curvature and absorptions. Whereas in sky wave propagation, in which ionosphere is acting like reflector for EM waves, and in which it works efficiently in the daytime because of more ionized layers in the ionosphere, and the limitation is if frequencies are beyond 30 MHz, they will not be reflected, they penetrate through the EM waves, and it requires large power also. And the advantage is it covers minimum 4000 kilometers for single hop. For multiple hops you can complete entire globe. And the layers in ionosphere is D, E, F1, F2. D is nearest layer to the earth surface, and F1, F2 are the farthest layers. Space wave propagation is a method of propagation which occurs in the troposphere only, and in space wave propagation there are two waves coming from transmitter to receivers. One is directly, other one is ground reflection, and those waves take multiple paths, and because of multiple paths the waves may be added or subtracted because of the phase changes. When the distance is far large, as long as lambda by 2, cancellation will occur. Hence you need to operate in such a way that there should be aiding of the EM waves coming from multiple paths, right? And space wave propagation is suitable for VHF and UHF communication, and the applications are FM radio, mobile communication, satellite transmission, most widely used. And the disadvantage is limited coverage, and it suffers because of earth curvature. And the expression for line of sight distance is 4 open the bracket under root HT and root HR. Fading is the fluctuations of the signal strength at the receiver input because of multiple paths, right? So in the next class we'll discuss how to overcome the fading. Thank you. Have a nice day.